the distinct honor is mine, and I don't think I'm going to get this pleasure again. So let me express my pleasure to stand between three of the most esteemed gentlemen in the Wesleyan Holiness Churches. And I have to first start with Dr. Ward. Dr. Ward, I think that you can be referred to as the architect of the 21st century Wesleyan Holiness Church. But even as we celebrate our centennial year at this gala event, could you give us your feelings of being here tonight, and not only being here, but as the patron of this event?
It's a distinct honor and privilege to be invited to this function in this capacity. And I give God praise, thanks, and glory for the opportunity of having served here as in the St. Kitts district as district superintendent and pastor.
I picked up on something you said earlier, even as we came through the doors, as you greeted Dr. Taylor. You said to him, every time you heard him preach, you felt that you were still learning. Maybe you can pick up on that and say something to our young people. We had quite a few of them here tonight. What would you say to our young people?
I would say to the young people that in all our celebration, we need living links. And I think Dr. Taylor, having lived through 85 years of the 100, and the oldest person in the function tonight, and the featured speaker, and for the breadth and depth and height of the word, Christ-filled. I think we need to use that as an example and ensure that as he has passed on to us the torch from a preceding century, that we need to pass on the same spiritual life to the younger generation to take to the next century. And may God help us, and may God find us faithful in that.
Dr. Ward, you served in every capacity in the Wesleyan Holiness Church. I think you were a Sunday school teacher, you became a pastor, district superintendent, general superintendent. In your career, in your ministry career, hard question, your highest and lowest points?
Well, I think the lowest is the highest, because it's in touching your lowest that you reach your highest. And the lowest was learning to die to sin, and is there we experience true resurrection life of Christ. And as Wesley summed up the essence of holiness, he said it is dying to sin, or dying out to sin, and living the full life of love, the love of God.
Thank you. Dr. Christie,
my brother,
I met you many years ago in St. Thomas. I never thought that you would have been my general superintendent, but I learned also that you would have served in every capacity of the church. But even as you were invited to this gala event tonight, what are your feelings?
Well, I feel particularly honored being a non-petition to be part of a gala occasion in St. Kitts. It represents an achievement for the St. Kitts district in terms of, bring the people together for this moment of celebration. And we trust that it will be the start of something new and better for the district.
Your hard question, what were your thoughts on your first morning at Wesleyan College?
As a student or as principal?
As student.
As student. What I remember most clearly, it may not have been the first morning, but it was one of my clever memories of being a Barbadian in college with a Cartesian president who didn't understand Barbadian pronunciation. And the same gentleman here tonight, he will not remember, but it's a distinct memory of my pronouncing a word in a Barbadian way that brought some cheer to the choir assembled in chapel for practice.
So I gather from your answer that your thought was not close to the fact that you may be someday the General Superintendent of the Caribbean?
That thought was never in my mind.
But now that you are, and have been for quite a few years, what would you like to say to young people? And we have many in our church.
Simply that, as a Christian, you should want to be totally sold out to God. Let Him have you fully, and there's a limit to what He can do for you and through you if He possesses you fully.
I'm not implying that you're ready to retire, but what would you say to the next General Superintendent?
Power to him.
Dr. Taylor, a man who I've always looked up to and respected from a very, very small boy. It is a very, very distinct honor to have you here with us tonight and to hear you speak almost as strongly as you would have spoken the first time I heard you. As profoundly, as alert, as intelligent, as sound. And I'm running out of words, so let me stop. But what are your feelings for the whole concept of celebration, even as you summarized it in your presentation tonight?
Well, I am deeply impressed by the thoroughness of the work done by your committee and the variety of areas in which they have sought to lead the district in this centennial. It has been a masterful coverage. I would only ask that as we plan, that we also make sure that the power and peace and purity of God be as well ours. I commend them for what they have done and pray that God may crown it with His spiritual victories.
With your foundation and your experiences, you spoke to many of them tonight in your presentation. What are your feelings in terms of the direction of the church?
Well, I believe that we ought to take today and tomorrow seriously, and I think the best way to do it is, as I say, to bring together our pure hearts and perceiving minds to look deeply and thoroughly at where God wants us to go into the future and follow Him.
Your hard question, Dr. Taylor. Our church is populated with young people, young Christians, but for some reason the call to ministry is not as popular as it used to be maybe 20 years ago.
Well, what's the next question?
That's a hard question. Why?
Is it so?
Is it so? What do you think has contributed or not contributed to that?
Well, I think again that what we need to do is to let people know that there is joy, there is fulfillment in giving one's life wholly to serve God, and that there is something greater than the material remunerations of this world. And just drill it in as a message. If I had to do it all over again, I would do it the way I've done it. It has been most fulfilling, and young people need to know that it is fulfilling.
I was touched to hear a man of Dr. Ward's, caliber to say to you that he feels that he is learning even as he listens to you. What do you have to say to our aspiring preachers, church leaders, and so on in the Wesleyan Church, that is?
Well, I would bring them back again to the fact that you've got to belong only to God. I know it sounds paradoxical, but because I belong only to God, now I belong to everybody, including the St. Kitts district and the nation. But I could not as adequately belong if I did not belong radically and totally to God.
I understand, will soon be at your 85th birthday.
That is correct.
You have any plans in terms of ministry, or are you just following the directions of the Lord, wholly and solely?
Following the directions of the Lord. This ministry here was His choosing and blessing. I have indicated that I am struggling hard to finish up a book that charts the course that God has led me all these years.
We look forward to that with much anticipation.
Alrighty.
Your words, your final words, Dr. Taylor, to us all, to Dr. Christie, to Dr. Ward, and even to our videographers. What is the word that's in your heart to say? What's that word that you just can't wait to say to people when you meet them?
Well, I don't know if I can't wait to say, but from my experience, God is the foundation, God is the beginning, God is the end, and that we should learn to give our lives totally and unreservedly to Him, and therein lies victory. Other than that, we can be easily deceived and led astray.
I would have to boast in this moment, because I don't think that there will be many people who would have the pleasure to stand next to three giants of the Wesleyan Holiness Church in Dr. Job N. Ward, Dr. Wingrove Taylor, Dr. A. Wingrove Taylor, and Dr. Carlton Christie. So we want to thank God for these three wonderful gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Bless you.
Thank God for you, sir.